Hi friends, this is Dipty and welcome to Life Admin 365 and welcome to today's video. It's so good to be in front of the camera after a very long time. I'm back after my 4-week visit to India, and though this trip was taken under duress, it was a good one because I got to see my father recover from his illness. Between my sister, my cousin brothers and my bhabis and myself, we were able to provide all care and necessary support to facilitate my father's quick recovery. And a big thanks to you all for your kind words and your well wishes for my father's recovery. It's been about 2 weeks that I'm back from India, and to tell you the truth, I don't feel like doing anything. All I want to do is lay down on the couch, watch TV and surf internet and go to sleep. But no matter what, we all have to eat. I have to eat, my kids have to eat, my husband has to eat, which means that we either food every day from out till the time I'm ready to prepare meals, or just get down to it, plan my meal and make use of everything that's in my freezer, refrigerator and pantry. For this particular week's meal, I'm going to use a few meals that I prepared during my massive meal prep that are still frozen, and I'm going to reimagine some of those meals, like convert those frozen meals into something else so that family doesn't feel like they're eating the same thing in and out. And there are a few fresh things in my refrigerator that I'm going to use to prepare fresh meals. So without any more rambling and talking, let's get started. First on the list is breakfast, which is only for my boys, and it's pretty much the same every week. For Monday and Wednesday, they had pancakes and syrup. This was something that I made fresh. All I did was take 3 cups of my favorite Kodiak Power Pancakes blend, add 2 cups of watered down milk, mix well to remove any lumps and form a smooth batter. Then poured out half a cup's worth of batter on heated electrical griddle. I had heated the griddle at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Topped it with a few chocolate chip pieces, and when bubbles started forming on the top, flipped the side and cooked for another minute or two. I made enough so that both of them could eat pancakes for 3 to 4 more days for breakfast. For Tuesday and Thursday, there was cereal and milk, and for Friday and Saturday, they had bagels and cream cheese. Mostly on weekends, Milind or I make hot meal for breakfast, and this week it was bread upma. Next is school lunches for boys. They are okay with eating the same 3 to 4 kinds of meals for school lunch. For Monday and Wednesday, they had peanut butter Nutella sandwiches. Very easy to prepare. Slather peanut butter on one slice and Nutella on the other, and put the two together, and bam, sandwich is ready. For Tuesday and Friday, there was pasta with red sauce. Pasta was either a twisted pasta or penne pasta. Amit is not a fan of pasta, and no matter how much or how less I give him, he always brings it home. Anyways, on Wednesdays, I typically send reheated frozen store-bought parathas, but since I'm home until my 10 self-quarantine days are done, I decided to make them instead. First, I made dough for parathas and let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. In that time, I prepared paratha filling. I used paneer makhani from my massive meal prep to make these parathas. Yesterday night, I took it out from the freezer to thaw. Then I portioned half of it in a bowl and saved the other half for eating with roti for today's lunch. Then smashed the half portion of paneer makhani with my handheld smasher. Adjusted for taste with salt and red chili powder, and boom, it was ready. Made 3 smooth dough balls from the freshly prepared dough. This time, instead of rolling it into rounds, I rolled them into a rectangle. And boy, it's hard to roll it into a rectangle. It's certainly easy to make rounds than a rectangle, for me at least. Then added the prepared stuffing and shaped that into a rectangle, and that I could do well. Added a little bit of flour and folded the sides so that they had a significant overlap and stuffing got covered from all the sides. Then sprinkle a little bit of flour and gently rolled it out, all the while trying my best to keep it in the rectangle shape. Every now and then I use the edge of the rolling pin to straighten the edges of the paratha. This definitely was useful in keeping the parathas in their rectangle shape. We did the same process to make 2 more parathas. For these 2 parathas, I wetted the edges slightly with water to ensure complete closure of the folded dough sides. Once all 3 parathas were prepared, I roasted them on preheated tawa on medium heat. After 30 to 45 seconds of cooking on one side, I flipped the top to cook the bottom side. While the bottom side was cooking, I buttered the top side. I stuck the fork on the butter stick and smeared butter on the parathas. Flipped the top to the bottom and buttered the top side once again. Very gently pressed to ensure cooking on all sides. Flipped once more, and oh boy, look how well the paratha puffed. Moved these 2 parathas to the end and placed the third one in front. Repeated the same cooking process for this one as well. Removed the cooked paratha from the griddle to a plate, and when they cooled, cut each in half and packed them in boys' school lunch boxes. On to weekday lunches and dinners. For Monday's lunch, I had cauliflower bhaji, moong, varan and roti on my meal plan. Early Monday morning, I took out bhaji and varan from the freezer for thawing, and after a couple hours, I transferred them to glass containers and heated them in microwave for about 1.5 minutes to get a head start. Ideally, I should have done this the night before, but I forgot about it, and hence the extra step of transferring these to glass containers and heating in microwave. Right around lunchtime, I transferred sabzis to a stainless steel pan, covered and heated it on medium heat. On the other stove, I had a pot heating to which I transferred moong varan, added water and brought it to simmer on medium-low heat. This was definitely better in texture than microwave heated sabzi, but slightly mushy in texture compared to freshly prepared sabzi. So I would strongly recommend that you freeze cauliflower and then prepare sabzi instead of making sabzi ahead of time and freezing it, unless you want your family to have something in your absence, just like I did for my family when I was going to be away from them. For details of both of these recipes, check out my bulk cooking Indian meals for freezer video or check the description box below. For dinner, I was finishing up pav bhaji from my massive meal prep. I took out bhaji from the freezer in the morning. All I did was add bhaji to kadhai and heat it up on medium to medium low heat. As bhaji was heating up, it looked a little bit grainy and looked separated, but as it continued to heat, it started coming together. Just kept on mixing quite frequently for the bhaji to come together. While bhaji was heating up, I started chopping onions using my manual veg chopper, and oh boy, is this chopper a sharp one. Very finely chopped onions, quick and less messy. Once bhaji was well heated, added a dollop of salted butter, mixed, and it was ready to be served. It came together very well. I was out of pav, so I used burger buns and one croissant instead. Garnished bhaji with finely chopped onions and served with burger buns or croissants. On to Tuesday's lunch, which was onion butter uttapam. Prepared chutney first, as I already had ready-made uttapam batter in my refrigerator. Blended fresh coconut, lots of green chilies, roasted dal, grated ginger, salt, sugar and lemon juice. Previous night, I texted my friend asking her for an alternative to cilantro chutney, and this is the chutney recipe that she shared with me. Chutney turned out fantastic. Milind had got uttapam batter from Indian store in my absence and had barely used it, and its expiry date was just 2 days away, so using it up was a big priority. Once batter was ladled and spread, I added finely chopped onions on each of the uttapams, and after a minute or minute and a half of cooking, I smeared butter all around the edges of both the uttapams. Once the bottom side was cooked, I flipped the uttapams over and smeared butter on the tops. Once the underside was cooked, I flipped it once more to make the bottom a bit crisp. Then took them off the griddle and served them along with freshly prepared coconut dal chutney. For dinner, I made plant-based burgers. It's one of the most easiest meals to prepare. All I did was heat up frozen plant burger-based patties and lightly charred onion slices alongside. Then quickly assembled the burger by placing cheese on top of the burgers and adding charred onion slices over the cheese. I didn't have burger buns since I used them yesterday for pav bhaji, but I had Turkish flatbread and that's what I used instead. Toasted them lightly on the griddle and placed the assembled burger patty in between two of these slices. Assembled the burgers and served them along with ketchup and potato chips on the side. For Wednesday's lunch, I had duthi or lauki bhaji rajma on my meal plan. These are one of the last of the leftovers from my bulk massive meal prep. I thawed both rajma and lauki sabzi the night before at room temperature and heated them on stove rather than heating them in microwave right around lunchtime. Serve these with heated store-bought rotis. This was quick and easy lunch for us. For Wednesday's dinner, it was kale rajma parathas. I had kale leaves that I had prepped enthusiastically but didn't feel like using them for making a salad, and that's when it struck me to use them to make parathas. I took out the central rib and kept only the leaves. I rub these kale leaves in between my palms. Rubbing action breaks the cells and helps in removing their bitterness. Blanch these in boiling water for 3 minutes. Then transfer them to ice cold water bath and let them sit in it for a few minutes. Then remove them from the cold water bath and squeezed out as much water as possible. It was time to prep the rajma. This was the last portion of rajma from my bulk meal prep. Transferred it to a container and mashed it with my cute little but sturdy hand masher. To this mashed rajma, I added blanched kale leaves. I used kitchen scissors to cut the leaves into small pieces. Then combined the two to form a homogeneous mixture. Transferred this to the bowl of my stand mixer and added about 2 cups of whole wheat flour and half a cup of besan or chickpea flour. Added salt to adjust the flavor and kneaded it without addition of any water to form a dough. Scraped from the sides as and when needed to get the mixture to come together. Towards the end, I added oil to make it into a smooth dough. Dough turned out soft and perfect. Covered the dough and let it rest for good 15 to 20 minutes. Then portioned out the dough into 8 almost equal sized pieces and rolled each piece into a paratha. I did an additional step after rolling out the parathas. I used a lid to cut out perfect circles. I'm not sure why I did it. Maybe I just wanted them to look pretty and perfect. Well, I'm not going to be doing that again. This added 10 additional minutes to my preparation. Anyways, roasted the parathas on medium heat and after flipping, smeared butter on the top side, gently pressed and turned around. Flipped once more and smeared butter on the now top side and gently pressed to cook it all around. Removed it from hot griddle and placed another one on its place. Repeated the same process until all parathas were cooked the similar way. Look at this stack of parathas. They have turned out fantastic. You should definitely try making these whenever you have any kind of leftover beans. They are so soft and easy to break. I serve these along with yogurt ketchup and cucumber and carrot slices. Let's see what I have for Thursday. For lunch, it's paneer makhani with homemade parathas. I made butter parathas lachha style to go along with the remaining half of paneer makhani. Rolled out the dough, smeared it with melted butter, sprinkled some flour on top of it, then folded the roti in accordion style. The folds are just like the ones that we make when making a paper fan. Then turned the folded dough in round and gently flattened it and rolled it out. Oh my god, the description sounds so complicated. Anyways, placed each paratha on hot griddle, roasted each side of the paratha for about a minute and a half, buttered each side generously until they had crisped up. Served it along with remaining paneer makhani that I had made in my bulk meal prep. This was the last of the paneer makhani. Earlier in the day, I had used one half of it for making stuffed parathas for boys' school lunches. For Thursday's dinner, it was sabudana khichdi. Very rarely I make something different on Thursday. The only variation from sabudana khichdi that I ever do is sweet potato hash or ratadacha kees as we call in Marathi. The two variations that I did here were make it for dinner instead of lunch and skip the potatoes. No one was really happy that I did not add potatoes, but I was being lazy and I didn't want to do that extra step, so skipped it. Next time, no skipping potatoes. Regardless, everybody loved it and asked for seconds. On to Friday's lunch. It's Hari Bhari Moong Tikki wraps. I used a bunch of green veggies to turn previously prepped moong varan into Hari Bhari Tikki. I used 2 cups of baby spinach, 1 cup of steamed broccoli stems, 1/4 cup of cilantro leaves, half a cup of chopped lettuce, 2 small pressure cooked and mashed potatoes, half a cup of chickpea flour besan, 8 chopped garlic cloves, 6 chopped green chilies, half a tablespoon of amchur powder, salt to taste, oil as required, and then 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 2 teaspoons of cumin coriander powder, and previously prepped moong varan. Added everything except moong varan to my food processor and pulse ground it to get all of the veggies and spices processed. Scraped along the sides of the bowl to get everything well processed. Then added moong varan. It was about 1.5 cups and pulse ground to form a somewhat smooth blend. Transferred this blend to a container. To it added cooked and mashed potatoes followed by chickpea flour. Mushed everything together to form a somewhat soft mixture. Using a large cookie scoop, scooped out the remaining mixture and placed it on a tray lined with plastic wrap. I was able to get about 9 portions from this mixture. Heated my griddle to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and smeared it with oil. Oiled my hands as well and rolled each portion into a log right on the plastic lined tray. Then lifted the log and placed it on the hot griddle for cooking. Lining the tray with plastic wrap made it very easy for rolling out the logs as well as keeping everything clean and mess free. Oiled the top sides of these logs and cooked for about 2 to 3 minutes. Once bottoms were crisped, flipped the logs upside down and cooked the bottom sides for another 2 to 3 minutes. While logs were cooking, quickly sliced onions lengthwise and placed them on the griddle to char slightly. Flip the logs on the sides and then onto the other side so that now all 4 sides were crisped up. In between, I heated wraps on tawa. These wraps are actually from Costco, and while the label says chapati, it feels more like maida roti. Making wraps was easy peasy. Smeared mint chutney on the wraps. Placed the tikki on top of it, added charred onions, topped it with tamarind chutney and brought the edges of the wraps over to wrap the tikki and held the wrap in place with a toothpick. Friday night was Taco Bell takeout for the boys. Milind was having dinner with his colleagues and I was going to my friend's home for dinner. For Saturday's breakfast, I made bread upma. I lined up dry spices, oil and wet spices like grated ginger and crushed garlic, cut up bread pieces. Every time I had bread end slices or heels, I cut them into small pieces and stored them in the freezer. And finally, I had sufficient quantity of these to turn them into upma. I thawed them out overnight and had them ready to go for morning's breakfast. And lastly, I have finely chopped onions, tomato paste and lemon juice. Once oil is heated, I prepared tadka of mustard seeds, cumin seeds and hing followed by onions. Sauteed onions until translucent and then added crushed garlic and grated ginger. Mixed well and added tomato paste, turmeric and red chili powder. Mixed well and added a couple tablespoons of water and mixed well once again. Then added bread pieces and mixed everything well. Then added salt and sugar and covered and cooked for a minute or two. Uncovered and added lemon juice and mixed well once more. Transferred to a bowl and garnished with freshly grated coconut. And bread upma was ready to eat. Family was eating a hot breakfast after a very long time and they savored it. For lunch, we had chole puri with aloo sabzi and instant veg pickle. And for dinner, we had chole pulao with pickled onions. Yesterday night, my friend sent me home with tons of food for my boys and Milin, and we ate some of it for lunch and finished the remaining for dinner. 2 delicious meals courtesy of my dear friend. Much appreciated. This brings us to the last day of the week. For Sunday's lunch, I simply heated frozen gobi parathas and served them along with yogurt ketchup garlic chutney mixture. For Sunday's dinner, I made soft, almost liquidy moong dal khichdi, very similar to pongal. Soaked half a cup of rice and 1/3 cup of moong dal in water for about an hour. Then prepared tadka of mustard seeds, cumin seeds and hing. Then added drained out soaked rice dal mixture and added turmeric and mixed well. Then added 2.5 cups of hot water, salt and mixed well. Once it came to a boil, transferred it to the pressure cooker and cooked it on medium-low heat for 2 whistles. Once pressure released naturally, removed the lid and served it with hot ghee, papad and pickle on the side. And that's it guys. Here is a quick look at the entire menu for the week. I hope you liked watching this video and the meal plan as well. If you liked it, do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Do share this video with your family and friends. Your likes, shares and subscription help me grow my channel and put out quality content and helpful videos out on time. See you all in the next one.